Thank you. So, meet Willow. Willow is my 3-year-old niece from England. And she has a British accent, of course. And she came to visit me recently. And she said to me, "Auntie Amy, would you like to see my Taylor Swift dance?" And I said, "Of course I want to see that, Willow. Please show me your Taylor Swift dance." Her accent's a little bit better than mine. So she proceeds to show me, and as a former dancer myself, I watched every move and I critiqued. She did it perfectly. What happened next is something I will never forget. Willow came up to me and she said, "Auntie Amy, did I look pretty? Did I look pretty while I was dancing?" And my heart sank and I thought, oh my goodness, you're 3 years old and you're already worried about what you look like. I said, "Pretty, Willow, what do you mean? You're pretty smart, you remembered all of those moves. Pretty strong, you hit all of those moves. Will you show me that dance?" And she said, yes. So she did. There's a video here. And Taylor Swift is playing. But you get the point. Is there any way we can get the audio, Tay-Tay? No? That's okay. All right, so she proceeded to show me specifically the dance. And I watched her and I learned. For the rest of the afternoon, she actually had this new sense of confidence. And she would walk around and she asked everyone in the family, "Do you want to see how I can spell your name? I'm pretty smart. I'm pretty smart." And this was an aha moment for me because it reminded me of a situation, many actually, where I'm worried about what I look like. In 2009, Vanity Fair reached out, and they wanted to highlight myself and 5 other entrepreneurs. And they wanted to talk about how we were using social communication to innovate our businesses. And I thought, great. So after a 2-hour one-on-one interview, and I told this journalist all about the company and what we were doing and the software we were using and how we could listen and actually track and measure conversations, I thought this is going to go pretty well. The next thing, of course, is it's time for the photo shoot. So they wheel out the wardrobe, and the stylists say, "Okay, ladies, this is what you're going to wear. Trench coat and heels." And we all went, oh no, this is not going to end well. Stylists at Vanity Fair are strong-minded. So we ended up doing the photo shoot. We thought, well, that's okay, because the content and the stories of what we're doing will be attached to this. Article comes out, headline, "America's Tweethearts." Not good. We basically sounded like we were a bunch of women who sat around each day watching American Idol and combing each other's hair. The article had nothing to do with what we were actually doing. And this is when I was so mad at myself. I thought, geez, I should not have worn that. I shouldn't have looked that way, because that's why they wrote that what they did. And then I thought, wait, does it matter how you look? Wasn't this supposed to be about what we were doing, not what we look like? And that's when I became obsessed with trying to figure out how we can evolve pretty to pretty damn rad, how we can evolve the focus of what people are doing versus a certain appearance. And I started researching a lot. So to level set, here's where we are right now. At age 3 or 4, it's Lip Smackers or Bonnie Bell makeup. By 6, it's Bratz dolls. Then at 7, 8, we're watching America's Next Top Model. And at 10, we have a new role model. I don't think we want our 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds or even 14 necessarily trying to keep up with the Kardashians. So as the society continues to enable and empower women to associate their looks and appearance with their value, there's something wrong there. So how can we flip and focus on making pretty more pretty damn rad? Let's focus on what people are doing. To take a step back, in 2020, we will celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the 19th Amendment, women's right to vote. Awesome. Has progress been made? Yes, it has. Women can vote. But in just 5 short years, it will be a 100-year anniversary. And women are still charging and trying to gain the right to have a voice and the right to lead and be seen as leaders. And I don't need to stand up here and talk about gender inequality and all of the stats. I don't need to convince this group. Everybody already knows those. But what I'm suggesting is that we think about things differently. And if we don't start to approach things differently and focus on the root, on the younger generation, we're probably going to see this evolve at a continued snail's pace. Recently, there was a Harvard research study done, and they polled about 20,000 young boys and girls. And this study was specifically designed to detect the unconscious bias. So this was intentionally asking the young boys and girls, who makes better political leaders, men or women? The answer was men. Then they were also asked, okay, in your own student council, who makes better leaders in your own school, boys or girls? And both groups, boys and girls, answered, boys. Again, this is the unconscious bias. This wasn't necessarily intentional. So we have young girls already voting against their own leadership. What's more important and fascinating is that mothers were asked the same question about political leaders, as well as the student council, young boys or girls. Which do you support more as leaders? And the answer was boys. So this isn't necessarily intentional, but it does show that we're leaning out without realizing. We're leaning out without intentionally doing so. And there are some strides being made. There's some positive campaigns and conversations going on around young girl empowerment. If you take the Always campaign here, the play like a girl, dance like a girl, throw like a girl, celebrate being like a girl, that's great. We have Target stores who have now combined the boys and girls toy sections. So Bob the Builder and Barbie can coexist now. Great, but good intentions aren't enough, just as I mentioned in the slide about the Harvard research. So what can we do? What can we specifically do here, everyone in this room, to help accelerate this process and shift pretty to pretty damn rad? Number one, what I'm suggesting is really focus on addressing the unconscious bias. So the language and the roles that we're playing. If you just look at language, the pronouns, he versus she, firefighter versus fireman. It seems so simple, but even the previous slides of I've got a guy, we say that, well, what about a girl? Do you have a girl that can fix X, Y, Z? I recently had a conversation with my accountant, and he said to me, when your attorney's ready to discuss this, have him give me a call. And I said, I'll have her give you a call. And he didn't realize what he was doing, and he was embarrassed. It was totally unintentional. But he realized he assumed my attorney was a man. We can also look at the colors. Everything is pink. We have this kind of idea of pink it and shrink it, and it's for a little girl, right? This toy, make it smaller, make it pink. What happened with this pink color? I don't know. There's nothing that I have personally against pink, but we have created a little bit of a pink monster. And then the roles. Who drives the family car? Is it mom or dad? Is it always dad? Who's in the kitchen more often? Just being mindful and conscious of those things. As we all know, this is the universal sign for women, right? Wearing a dress. But what if it isn't a dress? What if it's a superhero cape? Or what if it's a doctor's lab coat? We have to challenge those antiquated norms. What if Cinderella actually is an entrepreneur and she goes out and makes her own glass slippers in the manufacturing plant that she owns? That's up to us to change that conversation. The second thing we can all do is get men involved. Get men more involved. Men are very powerful, have a lot of influence when it comes to politics, when it comes to business. We all know this. We really need more men and male mentors. It used to be that everything was a battle of the sexes. This photo is from 1973 when Bobby Riggs played Billie Jean King in a tennis match, and Billie Jean King, female, actually beat him. And it was a big deal, and a powerful message was sent, and that's great. But this is no longer about a battle of the sexes. This is not a he versus she. We need everybody working toward the same goal, because we will all win if gender equality is actually reached. And Warren Buffett recently said, we women are one of the reasons why we will do so well. We need more men mentors. Sheryl Sandberg, in her book, and Lean In, made a great point of saying, a lot of men are nervous and apprehensive to actually mentor because they're afraid of what it will look like and what it will be perceived to mentor a female, to mentor a woman, how that will look. We need daring men to actually stand up and mentor. Now, I started the talk with a story about a young girl, Willow, and I'm going to end the talk with a story about another young girl. Meet Alina. She's 11 years old, and she's an entrepreneur. She's been in business for more than a year, and I met her. I heard that she was reading my book, so I reached out and got to know her. Alina has a lemonade stand. Lemonade as in AID, as in helping people. A portion of her proceeds are given back and donated to the local children's hospital. You see, her mother is a nurse, and so she's been hearing about all of these stories because her mom works on the cancer floor at the hospital. Alina knows her 1, 3, and 5-year plan. Alina is able to manage her own P&L. At that age, I was learning to probably count calories. And I asked her, I said, Alina, how do you get your confidence? Where do you get it from? And she said, first answer, my dad. My dad gives me my confidence. He's told me that you can be any age to change the world and you're never too young. He's always challenged me more than anyone, but always supported me more than anyone. And actually, Alina and Richard are here today. If you guys could wave and say hello. They came all the way from Arizona. Somebody gets to skip school today. Rightfully so, as the entrepreneur she is. I don't know exactly where or how I will pursue this message next, but I know that I won't be able to sleep at night if the message isn't shared more and we start thinking about this more, because there is a pathway, an opportunity to show young girls like Willow that you can go from pretty to pretty damn rad. You don't need to think of all of these different things that you're being exposed to as the end-all, be-all. Because as we all know, Alina is pretty much redefining what beautiful looks like. And that's pretty damn rad. I hope you'll join me on this mission. Thank you.